Hello everybody and welcome back to Leeton. My name's Jace. Today's video is about celery and celeriac, neither of which I'm an expert in. I've grown celery before but not celeriac. I've tried but the seedlings failed, but this year they're doing okay. So I need to prepare some ground for them, and I was doing a bit of research last night on the family celery, celeriac, and they are awkward and they don't like to be grown next to potatoes, carrots, parsnips and quite a few other things, but they do like onions, beans, and like the allium family, so garlic, things like that. So I've got an area over there which I've started to prepare, but the ground is really quite bad, so I'm going to show you that now. Okay, so this area will be inside the polytunnel eventually, and I came out a few weeks ago one evening and dug this over with a spade, so spade depth, turned it over and left it all lumpy, and to be honest it was worse than this bit over here. That's where I dug a dock leaf out yesterday. There's still a piece left. So I left it to get rained on and baked in the sun and everything else, and then I came out yesterday and chopped up this bit with the spade, and it literally is a case of chopping it up, and I'm going to do this bit in a minute just to show you how I'm doing that, and then raked it level-ish, and it's kind of half prepared now. It needs a bit more work, and then we'll get some planting done. Now, as for the companion planting regarding celery and celeriac, I've got leeks over there in that bed, I've got spring onions in this bed, and I've got broad beans in this bed. So they're all friends to the celery family apparently. I've got onions in this bed as well, but I do have potatoes in here, and they don't like potatoes apparently, so I need to keep my plantings towards that end of the bed. It says to plant them about 9, 10, 11 inches apart, something like that, so that's what I'm going to do. And I think I'm going to put the celery at that end of the bed, because I'm probably going to want to get to those to do some pickings, and with them being at the end of the bed that will be easier to do. And I'll put the celeriac more this way, because I think they're perhaps a bit more sort of plant and forget, hope they survive until they're ready. So the thing with heavy clayey soil like this is once it gets wet it'll then stick back together and just set into big clumps, and then when you dig it again it will just be in big lumps, you know, like it is over there. So that's why I'm going to be doing no dig on this ground. But the reason I've done what I've done is to loosen the soil, because don't forget I was driving an excavator up and down there only a few months ago, and also get any big stones out, any rubbish out, and level it, make it nice and level, so that at the end of this growing season, and when I've got the cover on the polytunnel and everything else, I can put some cardboard down, put some compost on it, and start my no dig bed properly. I've got no mycorrhizal fungi and everything in the soil at the moment anyway, because this was all dropped over the fence only a year ago. So this is all topsoil. It's all got to settle down and develop over the coming years with organic matter and manure, compost, etc. So that's why I've done what I've done. If you have soil like this and you want to prepare a bed and you don't want to do no dig because the cost involved with the amount of compost, what you can do is what I did at my old house, which was again heavy clay, and I dug beds, dug them over, and then I dug sharp sand in and mixed it in and kept doing what I was just doing there, breaking it up with a spade, mixing it in, sharp sand and compost as and when I could afford it. And over a period of about 4 or 5 years, the soil actually became really good. So each year I would probably, on an area like this, I'd probably dig in about 100 litres of compost. But I did the initial hard work with all the sand at the very beginning. So that's another way you can do it. I'm going to do no dig because I've done enough digging in my time, and I like the idea of no dig. And if I can produce enough compost here, that's really going to help as well. So that's about as prepped as I'm going to make the actual soil. So let's go get some plants. So I've put myself a string line along there because I do try to keep things a bit neat if I can. So I'm going to plant along that string line 10 inch intervals. The celery I've got, I shop bought at the garden centre the other week because I killed all mine. Don't know why, but I did. So I'm going to put these out now. My research says that celery prefers to be planted in blocks rather than rows. So I've got 6, so I think I'm going to put one about here, one about here, one there, one there. Yeah, so I'm going to put basically a double row here of 6. So we'll start with one here. Now I'm not too worried about being close to the edge of the polytunnel because obviously I've got no cover on it, and there won't be a cover until the celery is finished anyway, so I'm not going to worry about that. The celery can bush out over the wooden frame. And the reason I'm digging such a big hole for a little plug is I'm going to help the plants out a bit in this rough ground with a bit of compost. I'm going to take one of the plants out. Good healthy plants. I think this whole tray was only £2.35. and then I'm just going to plant it slightly in front of that string, the same depth that it was before. Bit of a firm down. Job done. Just level this soil off. So I'm going to put the next one about there. That's about 10 inches. That's that one. We'll put one more 10 inches further along. Now if you've got clayey soil like this, do not be deterred. It is very fertile. Things grow mostly very well in it. It's just horrible to work with and horrible to turn into what most gardeners would call a nice friable soil. A little bit deep, that one. Better. So these three, which are smaller, so I'm going to put them towards the front of the bed, I'm going to put on the next row. So I'm going to start planting my Celeriac from this point along this row. So these are the Celeriac that I've grown. These were grown from seed, sown on 2nd of February, kept indoors. Then they were put out in the greenhouse for a bit, and then they've been left outside for a few days as well. So I don't know how many roots we've got. That's probably not too bad. I don't think I'm going to bother doing the celery trick with the compost in the ground. These have got enough compost around them, so I'm just going to gently bury these. Or not bury, plant, sorry. And I've got 9, so we'll have a row of 5 and then a row of 4 on the next row. Right. So now the last 3 celery plants to go in here. I'm doing here is just filling in where the compost has sunk a little bit when I've watered it. So there I have my Celeriac up to the first label there. So there's 9 Celeriac and then 6 celery. All I've got to do now is keep them alive. Stop the birds eating them, the slugs eating them, the snails eating them, aphids eating them, just about everything really. We'll see how we get on. Right, well thanks very much for watching guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please hit the thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.